Hello everyone! Welcome to Downtown Tailoring. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to transform the basic patterns into anything you want. So let's go! Knowing how to transform the basic patterns is the biggest cheat code to life because you can literally have any clothes that you want. I made an entire e-course dedicated to showing you how to make flattering and body contouring basic pattern for the bodice and skirt. But what do you do with them afterwards? I made the basic patterns for Miss Inch, following the same step-by-step on my course, and I'm going to transform it in a very beautiful dress. I'm gonna link for you the free patterns for Miss Inch so you can practice yourself at home. I was scrolling on my web and I found this nice website, guitarandlace.com, and they put together a series of pieces for the next collection, including this cute stylish dress from Abercrombie & Fitch, and I was very inspired by it. My intention today here isn't to encourage you to steal other people's designs, but rather to show you how to transform basic patterns and how garments come alive. I have here Miss Inch's basic patterns, the front, the back, and the skirt. And the first thing I want to show you is where the lines that you have in your patterns are in the body. Let me show you. I have here the chest line, the overbust line, and the bust line. If I place my pattern over Miss Inch, I'm making sure that the breast point position is in the right place. And here you see this will be like at the overbust line. And let me show you the dress we have. This is such a cute dress. And the first thing I do is to translate the lines of the design the way I want to be on the body. Something very important with this dress cut is to know where you want to do your top line. In my experience as a custom-made tailor, finding the exact line is so important. In the modern fashion, the overbust is the line that you use to finish your strapless or this cut dress. The chest line, of course, is too high, but I noticed with my customers that they seem to feel a little bit more comfortable when you go somewhere in between the bust line and the chest. So this one will be my starting point. I'm gonna find the center between the chest line and the bust line, and I'm gonna trace a perpendicular line from the center front. And then I'm gonna go from the sides slowly to complete my top part. Again, in the modern world, you could probably go a little lower, but in my experience, women are very conscious of the little fat on their arms, which I found it particularly nice, but they like to hide it, so a little bit higher on the sides might make more sense. So just recapitulating, if you want a more modern look, it's better if you go a little lower, and for more traditional look, you can go with the same line as I did before. Now we are going to make our second line, which is pretty much over the breast point position. And my years of experience on custom made tells me that this band is approximately 1 3/4 inches, which of course we are working with Miss Inch, so it will be half of it. So I'm gonna mark 7/8, but you know, from the breast point to the top part, I already have like a much more. So I'm gonna go and lower that line a little bit to make it more similar to the original dress. So I'm just erasing my first line, and now I'm gonna just mark a parallel line at the same distance, which will be 1 inch and 1/4 in half of the pattern, but it will be like a 2.5 inches otherwise. And then the rest is very easy. I'm just gonna close my dart and then I will have everything done. You can close it just in one side or you can close it in both sides, but pretty much the results will be very similar. The only thing is that I do want to make the center front to the grain so it will be easier to cut. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do it my first option. I don't need the second grain because it will be the same piece. So now I'm gonna just cut the top piece and the bottom piece so we have the two pieces together. And with the top part, I'm still gonna do something that will be very important for the fitting issues, and is to make a kind of a little dart in there. So I cut a little bit over the bust line that I did, and then I'm gonna close it. You are gonna do around 1 centimeter dart or 3/8 of the inch. So I have my top canesú, and then I'm gonna make the sign of the center front and the sides. That's very important so I don't get confused. With my second piece at the front, I have then to soften off that curve, and I can do it two ways. One way is to add a little bit of the curve at the top, and the other is to just cut the excess of the point. I'm gonna go with the first part because this is what it works for most of the people. So I soften up a curve like that, and I think I have everything. For the back pattern, I'm not sure, maybe it has elastic at the center as I'm showing you in this picture. Maybe it has the same piece at the top. I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna make one whole piece because I guess that you will have the idea. So I make sure to start at the side at the same height, and then in this instance I'm gonna go straight and I'm gonna cut the excess the material, so I'm just keeping the bottom part, and I'm going to close my dart. So if I just close the dart like that, it might be a little bit big at the top line, so probably will be better if I open that dart again and I'm pinching a little bit at the top, what will be 1/4 inch if I were working a regular scale. 1/4 or 3/8 of the inches. And now I'm gonna just soften up my line in here, and I'm just cut it out. You can make the line a little bit lower at the center, but I like it high because it will hug better the figure. Then I'm just make all my signs so I don't get confused, and here you go. Now my next step is to work with the skirt, and for that you have to kind of decide what you need to do. And the first thing I check is how low the top part of the skirt is going, and I think it's a little bit lower than the hip high, so it's like probably around 7 inches or maybe 7.5 inches. And in the center, I guess that goes until the end of my dart. So I'm just kind of drawing a little bit. If I were very, very, very good at algebra, I would just make a formula of the line, but that's not. And I think my two lines are pretty similar. I have two ways to make dart skirt, and I'm gonna show you both. The first way is a more fitted skirt. So I did cut my line, and I'm going to close the dart on my skirt, and then I will just soften up my sharp ends. So I'm marking that I will cut that folded, and I'm gonna soften up the waistline with my French curve. And make sure that the beginning of your two lines are squared from the center front. This is very important to achieve a nice pattern. Now I'm gonna soften up the other line, and I have my top canesú done. And for the rest of the skirt that needs to be gathered, I'm going to mark parallel lines to separate the skirt in pieces. And I'm gonna cut them and I'm gonna mark them with numbers so I won't lose any of them, and I will put it in the right sequence. I'm gonna show you later how I separate them and put them, because the other way to do the skirt will have the same process. So let me show you again the dress. As you can see, it has some kind of waves indicating that the canesú part is not well fitted, it's not form fitted. So what I'm gonna do to make it more similar to the original is to close the dart to make more like an A-line skirt. And I did it like that so it's easier for you to visualize, but usually I do it in a faster way, which is making a little hole at the point of my dart, and then I'm gonna mark the pattern until one specific point at the bottom of my skirt until the start of my dart. Then I'm gonna put the tip of my pen in the hole, and I'm gonna move my pattern closing the dart, and I'm gonna trace the rest of my skirt until the point I started. And here you go, I have my new skirt with the A line. That will make the skirt a little looser and more similar to original design. So I'm gonna make again the mark of the canesú, and I'm gonna mark the lines as I told you before, and I'm gonna mark the numbers. And I'm gonna cut the canesú, making sure of course that I soften up the line of my waistband, and I'm gonna cut all the pieces, and then I'm gonna make a line with a square line, and I'm gonna measure the canesú to see what is the width, and then I'm gonna go again to see how much do I need to gather. Usually a good gathering is twice of the measurement, but I feel like this one is a little bit more, so I'm gonna make twice and a half of the measurement. And I can see that I don't have enough space, so I'm making a new line a little bit closer to the edge so I can have the space. And I'm gonna just put all my pieces in order, and I'm gonna put the first and the last one, and then in between of them I'm gonna place them all more or less at the same distance. It doesn't have to be too precise. And then I'm gonna join all the pieces together. I'm gonna mark my skirt, and I think now I have the skirt. Now that I have my patterns complete, I'm just gonna cut. I'm leaving the seam allowance, and I'm gonna make my dress. I don't leave seam allowance at the hem because I know that I did it with the skirt pattern, which is below the knee, and I know that a skirt is above the knee. For the top part, I'm gonna cut two pieces because, as I said before, this design is a little dangerous in the sense that it doesn't stick to the body, and the way I cut it, it was keeping in mind that I'm going to have a nice facing that will make the dress to stick to the body. Usually when I do patterns just to try, I don't finish any edges or anything, but in this case I'm obliged to do it because it's part of the design. So I sew the top and the bottom parts together, and I'm making sure to iron it with the seams open and cut the excess of material. And now I'm gonna finish with the top, with the other part, first by doing a stay stitch in both pieces, and then I'm gonna sew them together, and of course the facing a little bit higher than the front part. And then I'm gonna apply an understitch so the facing can go and stay in the right way. So this is the best way you can go, doing exactly the same design. But if I were designing myself, I will do as well 2 baby darts. I'm gonna link a video where I explain how to do that to make the dress to stick to the body in a better way. I sew my back pattern and I'm gonna cut the excess of seam allowance, and now is the skirt turn, and I'm gonna just do very fast because I'm just trying on the dress and how the dress will look. Of course, there are so many ways you can sew that skirt, like you can sew pieces by pieces from the top and the bottom and just sew the sides together, or you can sew the skirt first and then put the other part. So you do the way you prefer. Now my dress is done. I'm gonna just put it on Miss Inch, and here you go. It looks really good. Remember that this design goes with the strap, but I just didn't do them. And you see it has a little defect because I add material at the side bobs to make the curve instead of reducing, but this is because most of the bust type comes with more material or meat at the sides. And depending on your customer, if you are doing a custom made cloth, you are gonna just, check how your customer bust is. But if you are doing for a mass consumption, you are gonna go with the most common breast style or group of breast style you have. So this is Miss Inch. She looks very good. I'm gonna take a picture of Miss Inch. And now is the time of the truth. I'm gonna put them one on top of the other, and I'm gonna see how far or close I was in cutting my pattern. I'm wondering if you have any design of a style that you like to make. Please let me know in the comment. Or you can as well send me pictures and I can make anything you like. So let me know in the comment, what do you think about it? If you find this video useful, please give us a like and don't forget to subscribe, share, comment. Bye!